Ready there, Keeler?
Good.
All right. Obviously a tough loss in the rivalry game this past weekend. I thought our guys fought hard, extremely hard, and proud of the way they hung in there till the bitter end. Did some really good things in the game. I mean, we outrushed them, outthrew them, got more first downs than them. Just a lot of positives, but lost some key battles. Turnover margin, first and foremost. Red zone production. In fact, those are the two biggest keys to the game. So that's was the difference in the game. Was the 2-0 loss in the turnover margin and the red zone touchdown percentage. And so disappointing, like I said. But I got a lot of season left, and that's one. I don't want to say disadvantage, or one facet of a rivalry game in the middle of the season is you got to put it behind you right away and regroup, because there's more football to be played. And so very confident that our guys will handle that the right way and get ready for a very good Colorado team. I mean, I know they're 3-4, but the combined record of those 4 losses of the teams they played is 25-3. I mean, they've played some really good teams. And so they are much better football team than their record indicates. I can tell you that for certain. And so we got to be at our best and be ready. And got to have a great week of preparation, like always, and just continue our process. I mean, like I said, we're just over the halfway point, so a lot of football to be played this season. So questions? Yes, Justin.
On behalf of Justin.
On behalf of
In the
Justin.
first quarter of the BYU game, when you chose to go for it on 4th down instead of going for the 3 points, you said your decision was based on analytics. How much weight did you give to establishing momentum and positive psychology by kicking a field goal and taking a lead?
Well, analytics takes all that into consideration as well. I mean, they're first of all, if you think you're smarter than analytics, you're not anybody out there. If you think you got better grasp of the game and strategy than the analytics do, you don't. Now, there's an asterisk to that. Unforeseen circumstances in a game that, guys say you get a couple offensive linemen injured, or you're trying to kick a 50-yard field goal into a 50-mile-an-hour wind. I mean, there's things that do arise. And so we pay close attention to analytics, but not exclusive attention. The analytics in that particular situation you were talking about, it was a full-on go all the way up to 4th and 5 or less. And so at 4th and 1 is a no-brainer. I mean, I don't know anyone in the country that subscribes to analytics, and I would say 90% at least of Power 4 teams do, maybe 100%, would not have gone for it in that situation. And so that was an easy call, one of the easiest calls of the game, 4th down wise. And you say, well, why didn't you kick it? Well, yeah, we could have kicked it. Are we going to make it for certain? I mean, that's not a guarantee. And touchdowns are so much more valuable than field goals. Then it's just, that's why analytics is so heavily in favor of 4th down conversions in the red zone because of that. A field goal is actually a loss in the red zone. I mean, that means you've moved the ball and you've got within striking distance, but you bogged down. And so we try to do everything we can to score touchdowns, as does everyone in the country. And that was the reason for that, is the analytics and my own personal opinion were aligned. And again, had it been 4th and 5, it's still a go, and it was 4th and 1. We were coming off a very good game on 4th down against Arizona State. We put the ball in our best player's hands, Devin Dampier, and just didn't work out that particular time. But like I said after the game, bad result doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad decision going into it. So, good question, though.
Well, sticking on that just a tiny bit, when you look at that on the tape, was there any telltale on why you weren't able to get these?
Yeah, we didn't block it exactly, that particular play exactly correct. And, I don't want to get into who was incorrect or what, any of the specifics, but we didn't execute it very well. That was the bottom line. And the same thing on the 4th and 3 from the 12-yard line. And again, that was a go all the way to 5. Same thing. It was 4th and 5 or less. You go in that situation. And same thing there. Put the ball in our best player's hands. Well, the one was a toss. I'm sorry, the toss to Daniel Bray. The other one I'm talking about was Devon's, and so, then got those backwards. But
staying on those lines as well, with the 4th and 7, you had Dylan Curtis out there, and then he attempted the kick, but it didn't count. It was missed. Do you have faith in him to make those kicks, or was it just, again, you saw what BYU was, they called the timeout and it caused a change of heart?
Well, it caused a change of heart. We were going to kick it, obviously, but we have struggled at that exact distance this year, the 45, 46-yard range. We're 1 for 4 from that range, actually 1 for 5 because we missed one a couple games back that was there was a penalty, so it didn't count, and then he missed the one, right before they called timeout. So we're actually 1 for 6 from that range. That was right on the cusp of the analytics, go either way. You can kick the field goal or go for it. It was like 45% kick field goal, 43% if you go. And so when we saw the kick go fairly significantly wide right, we said, you know what, let's just go for it. And so that was the one that was could have gone either way. But again, you can't, people that say, well, if you'd have kicked a field goal, add 3 points to the score, this is what it would have been. No, that's entirely false. When as the score changes, people's tactics change and the play calling changes based on the situation. So you can't just say at the end of the game, well, if you'd have done this and this would have been the score, because that's ludicrous to think that way.
Kyle, Devin, I think, had his lowest completion percentage of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Just looking at the tape, I guess what led to that the completion percentage being so low compared to previous games, and are you confident in the past game, given just there were a few mistakes there, a few missed reads and so forth?
Yeah, he actually didn't have a bad game though overall. I mean, he rushed the ball effectively. They did a good job in coverage. Give them credit for that. That which led to some of the lack of completion percentage points. But right now we're our forte right now is running the football. We're in the top 5 in the nation, 5 or 6 in the nation running the football. Devin's been a great quarterback for us. I think he's number 10 in the country in QBR, which is the best measure of how your quarterback's playing. And so that's our bread and butter is running the ball, but you still got to be able to throw. And we did. We threw it for over 200. What was it? 220, 230, 240, somewhere in that range. And so we did get some production throwing the ball. We obviously would have liked to have more, but just weren't quite as sharp in the throw game as we have been in certain other games.
To follow up on that, Dampier was clearly hobbled, limited late in that game. Do you consider going to Bert Ficklin at all this week?
You know what? We'll just check the availability report comes out Wednesday, and we have to wait a few days to see, how these guys are healing up from the game, and so that's a distinct possibility. I can tell you that. But on Wednesday, you'll start getting the availability report and the likelihood of who's playing, who's not.
So Colorado, is better than what their record has showed.
Absolutely.
What stands out about them?
Well, they're well coached. I think Coach Sanders has done a great job there. He's obviously charismatic and a highly energetic guy that's got just a ton of juice. They're like a lot of the teams we've played this year. They got a quarterback who's really a good runner, and I think that's one of the reasons. Not to get off the subject, but our run defense this year is not as good as it typically is. And I think a big reason for that is we've seen so much Q run game in the first 7 games of the year, and this is another guy that runs the ball exceptionally well, and that's their one of their best attributes. They've also got a really good red zone. They're 72% red zone touchdown percentage, which is outstanding, and so they're doing a lot of good things. But the quarterback run game is probably right towards the top of the list of things we need to be concerned with this week.
Don Saunders saw some increased time on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Was it just due to what BYU was showing personnel-wise, or was there somebody in the defensive backs that was unable to go? Scooby
Davis got banged up and was unable to go for a stretch of time there, and that's when you saw Donovan come in, and he actually held the fort down pretty good.
Penny Bray obviously goes pretty well in that game, but you didn't really have much for Wayshawn or DeCarry. Was there a difference in kind of the production and the shift in that, or what kind of happened there?
Well, they did a good job. They played odd front the majority of the time, and when you play an odd front, that typically will lend itself to a stingier inside run game defense, and maybe not quite as strong on the edges. And so it was more of a product of what we were seeing. And going in, we knew that. They had been a lot of odd front all season long. And so that was a concerted effort on our part, was to try to get to the edges with Daniel in particular. And I think that really paid off for us. He had some really good runs, although the fourth down was obviously a disappointment, but other than that, it was very productive for us.
This is a two-part question.
Two parts. Okay, if I can't remember the first part, remind
First,
me.
If Devin is hobbled and the quarterback run game is affected, I guess when he's out there, I guess how does that change the approach offensively? And if you do have to go to Bird this week, how confident are you just in his ability to get you guys a win and run the offense consistently?
Okay, when Devin's hobbled, that obviously causes you to rethink some of the QB run game. You don't completely go away from it, but you might, when it's could go either way situation, you might opt to not do it because of his his mobility. He got beat up in this game pretty good. Second part of your question, Bird Ficklin, we got a ton of confidence in every time he's entered a game so far this year. He's done positive things, and if we have to go that route, then I shouldn't say if we have to go. If we end up going that route based on health, then we got the confidence in him that he can get it done.
What was allowed Bird to kind of move into this backup role as a freshman?
Performance in practice, performance in games. It started back in spring. He was just fresh out of high school and really had the poise and the demeanor of a second, third, fourth year player in your program. I mean, he just did not operate like a true freshman, and he's got a lot of self-confidence. He's got a lot of ability, just physical ability. He's an excellent athlete, a really good runner, throws a really good ball. He's 9 for 9, I think, on his 9 throws this year so far. And so he's a guy that has showed nothing but a lot of promise ever since he set foot on campus.
You have time for two more right there. DJ.
I'll stay after for an analytics conversation. If you want that. I can get you the whole thing. I mean, it's pretty interesting.
Where do you get the analytics information from? Is there a company?
Our analytics company, yep, absolutely. We subscribe to it, as does, I guess maybe there's some Power 4 schools that get it on campus in the math department or whatever, but there are several companies out there that's what they do. They're in analytics, and you subscribe and pay a yearly fee, and then they feed you the information every week. And they're customized. It's not just like, hey, in any game in the country, 4th and 1, from the +8, you go for it. It's customized as per the opponent and what they've done, so far this year, what we've done so far this year, our field goal kicking percentage. I mean, there's every week it's customized. It's not just an arbitrary. Here's your plan for the year, and so that's why it makes so much sense. Unless, like I said, there's things that come up in game, weather-wise, personnel-wise, that change it dramatically.
You had the lead in the fourth quarter. And
For about 3 minutes.
Yeah. Granted, it was a low-scoring game.
Yep.
But last year you had fourth quarter leads, also in low-scoring games where a lot was being asked of the defense, but teams were able to go down the field in clutch situations last year. And obviously, in this recent game, they scored twice. Is there something talking to the defense about, the biggest moments and that kind of stuff? Every possession isn't created equal, and momentum swings. And
Sure.
how much emphasis do you put on that, and how do you do it?
Well, a lot of it, and Coach Scally does as good a job as anybody in the country with tactics and educating the defense, the game within the game. It's not just, there's so many intricacies and so much detail, and he does a phenomenal job of doing that. In fact, I've never been around anybody that's better than him at doing that. So that is a big part of educating your guys and making sure they understand that every down is not created equal, as you said. In fact, that's the exact term we use.
Kyle, Trevor Riley was previously an assistant staffer for Colorado. Now he's back in Utah being a GM for the Utah Islanders. I'm just curious, what is your perspective and thoughts on his journey? I know he, with the Islanders, kind of wants to, what he says, create a minor league team for the Utes and BYU. Just kind of walk me through your thoughts of his past 2 years with Colorado and now coming back to Salt Lake City.
Well, I'll begin it with saying Trevor Riley is one of my favorite people on earth. I love the guy, and he's one of the most unique, interesting, intelligent guys you're ever going to meet. He's got a great creative capacity in his mind and thinks outside the box constantly, not once in a while, always. His life is outside the box. And so he's got a vision on what he wants to do, And we'll see. A lot of it will be dictated by the structure of NC2A football and where it goes from here, and what the rules are, and how they morph, or whatever term you want to use. But the concept is really good, and he's an idea guy. Did you see Night Shift? Michael Keaton, idea guy. Feed the fish mayonnaise. Yeah, feed the tuna. So anyway, way off the subject, but it fits for Trevor Riley. And so when Trevor has an idea, you listen, because a lot of the time, most of the time, there's validity to it and substance to it. And like I said, he's a guy that really can come up with things that no one else has thought of.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, guys.